From the studios in San Diego, California, this is Frank Fired Up here on a Mixed Up Sports Network, coming to you live here on this Wednesday. It is the 5th day of October, 2016. Started a little late today. Do apologize for that. I had a problem with the stream getting up and ready. But we do have a lot to get over today here on this Baseball Wednesday. After the Toronto Blue Jays won last night, now you have the Mets, who will look to follow suit with a win this evening against the Giants. Meanwhile, you have Odell Beckham Jr. and the New York Football Giants still making news even after a couple days beyond their loss. That, and we'll also take a look at a quick little preview for college football this week and for NHL preseason, which for those of you who didn't know is underway this evening. Couple of New York teams playing this evening. But we'll begin tonight with baseball, and we'll begin with the Baltimore Orioles and the Toronto Blue Jays from last night. Blue Jays take the game 5-2. They now will face the Texas Rangers. This game was exactly what you would have expected out of a game. It was very, very close, very, very tight. Next decision could be your last, and that was the case in Edwin Encarnacion pitching, getting pitched to by Ubaldo Jimenez, and not the closer, whose name I've heard all day long, which escapes me now. I have no problem. If you look at that, I said it, Zach Brighton, by the way, pardon me. Brighton, I said it last month during a close game between the Red Sox and the Yankees, how you want to go down, and if you're going to go down in such a fashion, you want to go down with your best. You want to go down with your best pitcher on the mound, and that is exactly what the Baltimore Orioles did not do last night. When you have a guy like Zach Brighton who's only allowed one run since April, okay? When you have a guy like Zach Brighton sitting in your bullpen, you want to use him. I completely understand why Showalter did not use him. Typically, when you're on the road, you want to save your closer until you get a lead so you can hold on. You don't typically bring him in for a 4, a 5, or even a 6-out save opportunity. I'm not starting him in that 11th inning. There's no reason to start him in that 11th inning. But the second Ubaldo Jimenez gives up that soft hit, that's when you bring him in. That is when you bring in Zach Brighton. That is when you have to put the kibosh on the entire inning. You cannot give Baltimore a chance, because when you have the guys coming up that Toronto had coming up at that time, when you have Ezekiel Carrera lead off the inning with a strikeout, then you have Devin Travis at the top of the order with that single. Jimenez has to come out, and I understand Showalter said that Jimenez has been pitching very, very well lately. That's fine, but you cannot. And if he doesn't take him out, after the Devin Travis single, he has to take him out after the Donaldson single. Donaldson takes the first pitch he sees from Ubaldo Jimenez and he rips it into left field. Devin Travis goes to third. Now you have second base open, and Edwin Encarnacion, when he went out to the mound before the Encarnacion at bat, I knew he was pulling him, and he didn't. He went with his gut as he has done so many times, and this time it burned him. And of course, you're going to sit there and you're going to say, oh, well, he should have gone out with his best pitcher on the mound. Of course, everyone, that's of course. If you're going to go down, you want to go down with your best. He felt as though, maybe he felt as though, if I can just get Jimenez past Encarnacion, and then I'll get Brighton up against Batista, and we'll shut the game down from there. But after the Devin Travis single, he has to bring in Zach Brighton. That is the point of the night where you shut it down. You have to put the kibosh on any form of rally, especially for the home team. You have to kill that rally. You have to kill the momentum. Devin Travis was 0 for 4 before that at bat, with a strikeout, and he left 3 on base. You cannot let him do what he did. Tillman only goes 4 1/3 innings because of the fact you can't let this game get away from you. Then Givens goes 2 1/3. O'Day goes 1 2/3. And Ubaldo Jimenez comes in after Dunsing gets the strikeout of Carrera. You reset the lineup, and now Jimenez is dealing with the top of the order coming in. This is the spot that his manager wants him in. Dunsing comes in, I'm assuming for the lefty-lefty. I believe Carrera's a lefty, yes. Ezekiel Carrera, lefty, yes. So you get the lefty-lefty matchup that you want. You get the lefty-lefty matchup that you're looking for. And then you turn it over to the guy who you feel, if this game goes deep, if it goes to 14, if it goes to 15, you have a starting pitcher on the mound, a guy who you know can take you a couple of innings. Showalter even said, listen, Jimenez has been my second best pitcher this entire, as of late. So he put him in there with knowing that if this game is going to go a long way, is he has a guy who can keep him in it. And unfortunately, it burned him immediately. I can understand not taking Jimenez out after the hit by Travis. You don't want to mess with him. But you have to realize it was a third pitch hit, and then Donaldson rips the very next pitch he throws into left field, enough for Travis to go to third. He has to come out at that point, and then Brighton goes in. If you don't take him out after the Travis hit, you have to take him out after the Donaldson hit. Maybe you get a ground ball for a double play with Encarnacion. Guy was 0 for 3 with a walk in the game. Maybe you get lucky and you get a ground ball you get Brighton to ground him into a double play to end the inning. Then you go to the 12th, where you have, I believe, you have 3, 4, and 5 due up in the 12th. So you have Machado, Trumbo, and Wieters due up in the 12th, and that would have made the game very, very interesting for Toronto. So while the Orioles are left wondering what could have been, the New York Mets are sitting here wondering what could be. Between the Mets and the Giants sitting here both wondering what could be. And if you look at these two, if you look at Madison Bumgarner and if you look at Noah Syndergaard, you are looking at essentially the same pitcher. Bumgarner was 15-9, Syndergaard was 14-9. Bumgarner 2.74 ERA, Syndergaard 2.6. Bumgarner 251 strikeouts, Syndergaard 218. You're looking at almost the exact same pitcher when you look at these two. The only difference is Bumgarner in situations like these has established himself to be one of the best. Syndergaard has not done that yet. Tonight is the night to where he can establish himself as one of the best. Meanwhile, you're looking at Bumgarner, who is 4-0 with a .67 ERA at Citi Field. Just set the single season franchise record for strikeouts by a lefty. And on the May 1st game at Citi Field that he pitched, he struck out 7 in 6 shutout innings. That was the last time he was at Citi Field. The last time the Mets saw him, however, was a different story. The last time the Mets saw him, he got beaten up pretty good. The last time that the Mets saw Bumgarner was in San Francisco, not all that long, was in San Francisco at the end of August. And from what I remember, the Mets beat him up in that game. Actually, never mind. They didn't. They didn't get to him. He won. 5 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs. Okay, so they beat him up a little bit. 6 hits, 4 runs, 1 home run, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts on 89 pitches through 5. That was the last time Bumgarner saw the Mets, period. Now, again, that start at Citi Field in May, he won 6 innings, 6 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts through 112 pitches. The key for the Mets is if you get Bumgarner in trouble early, which is a lot easier said than done. If you get Madison Bumgarner in trouble early and you force Bruce Bochy to do something that he does not want to do, being take Bumgarner out in, say, the 3rd or the 4th inning, and you get into that San Francisco bullpen, it could be a very, very good night for the Mets. If Syndergaard's pitching well. If not, it could be a very, very, very long evening for the Mets. Lineups are out. Denard Span, Brandon Belt, Buster Posey, Hunter Pence, Brandon Crawford, Angel Pagan, Joe Panik, Connor Giuseppe, and Madison Bumgarner. For the Mets, it'll be Jose Reyes, Asdrubal Cabrera, Yoenis Cespedes, Curtis Granderson, TJ Rivera, Jay Bruce, Rene Rivera gets the start. Behind the plate, James Loney, and then Noah Syndergaard. So those are the lineups for both teams this evening. Jay Bruce, going through the guys in the lineup. Jay Bruce batting 143, 21 at-bats, 1 home run, 4 RBIs against Bumgarner. Asdrubal Cabrera is 2 for 4 with an RBI. Cespedes is 3 for 10 with an RBI. Granderson's 0 for 3. Ty Kelly is 1 for 1. James Loney is batting 182 with 11 at-bats and an RBI. Reyes is 3 for 9. Rene Rivera is 2 for 3 with 5 RBIs and a home run. TJ Rivera also 2 for 3 with no RBIs. Those are just the guys in the lineup versus Bumgarner tonight. The Mets will have Eric Campbell, Michael Conforto, Alejandro De Aza, Kelly Johnson, Juan Lagares, Kevin Plawecki, and Travis d'Arnaud on the bench. Mets are carrying 16 fielders compared to 9 pitchers. San Francisco is carrying 14 and 11. Against Syndergaard tonight, Brandon Belt 0 for 6 with an RBI. Brandon Crawford is 2 for 8. Connor Giuseppe has not faced him. Pagan is 0 for 5. Panic is 2 for 6. Hunter Pence is 1 for 5 with a home run. Buster Posey is 3 for 5. Span is 3 for 6, pardon me. And Span is 0 for 6 against Syndergaard. Andre Anza, Gregor Blanco, Trevor Brown, Gorkys Hernandez, Jarrett Parker, and Kelby Tomlinson on the bench for San Francisco. So you have 1, 2, 3 guys in that lineup tonight that are 0 for against Syndergaard. And only one that is 500 against Syndergaard, and that's Buster Posey. Everyone else is below 500 with less than 10 at-bats against Noah Syndergaard. So all eyes will be on Citi Field this evening. It is going to be a very, very tense night at Citi Field. And again, it is going to fall squarely on the pitchers. This is a game where the hitters do not have much influence. This is a game that is going to rely squarely on the pitchers. Which pitcher is doing well, because if it is one and not the other, it is going to be a very, very long night for whichever team's pitcher is not performing. Starting pitching, give the advantage slightly, I would say, to Bumgarner, because of Bumgarner's record at Citi Field recently. MLB.com did this great thing where they have a position by position breakdown, who's better. And to be perfectly honest, it's almost an even cut. It really is. So let's take a look at this. All right. San Francisco obviously has the better catcher, has the better first baseman, has the better second baseman. So and they have the better shortstop. Not by much, though. Crawford has speed, and he can hit for average a little bit better than Cabrera can. So it is a small advantage for the Giants. So immediately you look at the first 4 positions and the Giants are up, but this is where the Mets start to come back now. Third base, the Mets have the advantage. Left field, obviously the Mets have a huge advantage in left field. Center field, the Mets will have an advantage tonight with Curtis Granderson over Denard Span. Right field, give it to Hunter Pence over Jay Bruce. I agree with that. So you're at 5-3 now, San Francisco. Make it 5-4 because the Mets do have the better bench, better depth bench. 6-4, you give Madison Bumgarner a very, very slight advantage. And the only reason why he's got it, according to MLB.com, when they did this, they said the only reason why they give Bumgarner the slight advantage is because of his track record in the postseason. 6-5 San Francisco. Mets have the better closer by a wide margin. And the Mets tie it up at 6-6 with their relievers. The Mets have the better bullpen. So if you look at the 12 positions that you're looking at, the 9 on the field, the closer, and the bullpen, the Mets, they're even. They are even. I This could be, if it plays out to be the pitcher's duel we are all expecting it to be. This could be one of, if not the best games this postseason, because these teams are so doggone even. The teams are even. The pitchers are even. The Mets took 4 out of 7 this season, so that's not a big advantage one way or the other. These are two very, very even, very, very close teams that are going to play tonight. And of course, you're hoping, if you're a Met fan, you're sitting here hoping that the Mets are going to win tonight. But then you look at the Giants and say, well, it's an even year, so the Giants are due. I don't think it's going to take late game heroics, but whatever happens is going to happen late in the game. It is going to be a very, very fun game to watch. It is going to be a very, very interesting game to watch this evening. And hopefully, one where the New York Metropolitans come out on top. We'll be back right after this. All right, we're back. Pardon me. Um, Going through this Giants Vikings game from Monday night. Again, do apologize for not being on yesterday. Just between um, school yesterday and the amount of school work that I have due between today and next Tuesday. Just needed the day off. I needed to focus on other things. Um, that game that game was, I think it went as expected. You can't really say that the Giants did more or did less than what you were expecting. Of course, they had a couple of bad turnovers, the fumble, the muff punt. The muff punt was bad. Um, the Eli interception where he overthrew Beckham because it seemed as though Beckham ran a deep post when he was supposed to run a go route. Um, that was bad. But other than that, I mean, the biggest story coming out of this game continues to be Odell Beckham Jr. and his 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 tantrums on the sidelines. I mean, it really is. It's unbelievable the kind of diva this kid has turned into after just a year and a half, and not even a year and a half, into his NFL career to the point where he's saying, you know what, I'm not having fun playing football anymore. Really? He makes the comments Monday night of how, oh, it's always me, I'm the one that's always getting blamed. But the next day, you'd figure somebody, whether it be McAdoo, whether it be Eli, whether it be anyone, Jerry Reese, whether it be the Tisch family, whether somebody, you figure somebody would have talked to this kid and figured somebody would have gotten to him, but no. He goes out the next day on ESPN and he doubles down on his statements by saying, I'm not having fun playing football anymore. Really? Come on. Really, after a couple of bad games where you clearly let your emotions get the best of you. That whole situation with Rhodes last on Monday night was ridiculous. Was absolutely ridiculous. And to the point where the reaction that he made coming off the field, basically saying, "Yeah, I knew that was coming. It's always me. I'm the victim here." The fact that that was his reaction made it worse. Then for him to say so, and then for him to, say it again, just made it worse. It should it and the biggest problem with Beckham is that there's nobody on that Giants team that is willing to tell him, sit down, calm down, and put him in his place. That is the biggest problem with Beckham right now. Forget about the fact that he's not getting touches. He got thrown to 8 times on Monday night. He only made 3 catches. That's not his fault. One of the incompletions that was a one-handed catch, he was falling to the ground, rolled over. That's a catch that he's not even supposed to remotely even attempt to make. And he made it close. Part of that, most of that, is the defensive scheme that Minnesota put up that gave Eli Manning so much trouble trying to decipher who was going where and what the coverages were. That was why Beckham wasn't getting the ball, and that opened up Victor Cruz. That opened up Shepard. That opened up Ty. That opened up Perkins for his 67-yard catch. That opened up Ty for his 18-yard catch. Beckham has to realize that it's not just him catching the ball that makes the plays. He can be very, very impactful and not get the ball thrown to him once. If he's pulling double and sometimes triple coverage with the safety comes down to help the corner, then that opens up another receiver on the corner, that opens up the tight end down the middle, and you have another big play. He can be very, very impactful away from the ball to help the team achieve the underlying goal, which is to win. If Beckham thinks the only way that the Giants are going to win is if he's getting 6 or 7 catches a game, he is sadly mistaken. And the fact that he keeps biting into this and he keeps taking the bait and feeding into this garbage is only making it worse. Players trash talk every single game. It's a thing that happens. We know that. You can't react, especially the way Beckham has reacted, because then you screw yourself for the rest of the league. Because one corner calls another and says, listen, I really got in this guy's head by saying this. You should try it too. He does, and then it's all over from there. It is all over from there. Can't sit there and tell me it's not. Somebody in that Giants organization has to tell Beckham to relax with these tantrums, and that's exactly what they are. They're temper tantrums. There's no other word to describe them. They are temper tantrums. Smacking his helmet against the kicking net. Going off on players on the sideline. That's sitting there with a pout on his face after a bad play. And no one is willing to talk to this guy, and that's the biggest problem. They missed a chance to nip it in the butt last year, and now they just said, well, we missed it last year, so what the heck's the point trying this year? Maybe he'll figure it out. No, you got to help him figure it out. You got to help him get his head on straight. It's not fair, not only to him, but it's not fair to the team if you don't try to help him. If you don't try to get him to figure out what's going on. Because if he doesn't, then he's bringing the entire team down with him, and that's not helping. This is a Giants team that has serious playoff aspirations this year. This is a Giants team that can make the playoffs this year. They have the Green Bay Packers, who are not as good, and Crucia's going to kill me for this, but are not as good as people think they are. Still, I understand you still have the best quarterback in the league, and that's fine. But they are not as good as a team as everyone thinks they are. You have the Ravens, who are not as good as their record says. The Rams, who have a lot of holes but still find a way to keep on winning. They were 2-1 through week 3 and only had one game where they scored a touchdown. Then you get the bye to reset before you face the Eagles. Then you have the Bengals, who are a good team. The Bears and the Browns, who should be walkovers. The Steelers, the Cowboys again, who you've already beaten. Detroit, who should be a walkover. And then you have the Eagles and the Redskins on the road. Not to mention that Eagles game is a Thursday night game. Same thing with the Rams. That Rams game is a Thursday night game as well. So you have essentially 20 days between the Rams and the Eagles. Oh, sorry, not 20 days. You got a week and a half, well, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks between the Rams and the Eagles. And then you have a week and a half between the second to last game of the year and the last game of the year in Washington. This is a team that has playoff aspirations and they can get there. But if Beckham continues to bring this team down, they are not going anywhere. Dallas has proven they are tough to beat. Washington has proven they are tough to beat. Carson Wentz has proven he is the real deal. And to be honest, this was not a bad loss for the Giants. This was a very, very good team in the Vikings. This is one of the best teams in the NFC this year. And this is the first game that the Giants played that the final wasn't within 3 points. Win by 1, win by 3, lose by 2, and now you lose by 14. You got to scrap it. Sunday night, Green Bay Packers come out, new team, new mindset, new frame of mind. And for the love of God, keep Beckham under control, please. Quick break. We'll get to college football and the NHL preseason when we return. Don't go away. Back after this. All right, we're back. Just wrap up the show here. We'll just run through really quick the top 25 games for this week in college football. Of course, starting tomorrow, as they typically do. Friday, actually, is when it starts. Clemson will play Boston College on ESPN. Number 19, Boise State at New Mexico. Saturday, you got the Red River rivalry game, Texas versus Oklahoma. This could be one of the last games that Charlie Strong is the head coach for Texas. A lot of rumors saying that he could be on his way out depending upon the result of this game. Wouldn't be surprising depending upon looking at some of the teams that they've lost to this year and some of the games that they've lost recently. Saturday as well, you have number 18 Florida taking on LSU. Number 6 Houston taking on Navy. Number 8 Texas A&M hosting number 9 Tennessee. That is another big game for Tennessee inside the conference. Indiana at number 2 Ohio State. Number 17 North Carolina takes on number 25 Virginia Tech. Number 21 Colorado taking on USC. Number 1 Alabama versus number 16 Arkansas. Number 4 Michigan takes on Rutgers. Number 5 Washington against Oregon. Number 10 Miami hosting number 23 Florida State. Number 24 Utah taking on Arizona. And then number 15 Stanford taking on Washington State. To the NHL now. The Edmonton Oilers name a new captain. It is 19-year-old Connor McDavid will be the captain of the Edmonton Oilers, the youngest captain in NHL history at 19 years old. Also, rumors are that the new franchise in Las Vegas will announce the name of their team within the next month. They have narrowed it down apparently to 3 names. They are going to pick the one and announce it later this month. Preseason hockey from yesterday. The Buffalo Sabres defeating the Carolina Hurricanes 2-0. The Montreal Canadiens over the Boston Bruins 4-2. The New York Islanders defeating the Rangers 3-2 in overtime. Chris Kreider and Jensen scoring for the Rangers in the second and third periods. Cal Clutterbuck scoring in the second and the third. Josh Bailey with 22 seconds left in overtime with the winner. The Columbus Blue Jackets beating the Nashville Predators 3-2 in overtime. The Blackhawks beat down on the Detroit Red Wings 6-1. Dallas defeats Florida 2-1 in a shootout. The Colorado Avalanche shut out the Minnesota Wild 2-0 as the Edmonton Oilers defeat the Anaheim Ducks 2-1, and the Ottawa Senators beating the Toronto Maple Leafs 3-2. That game a final in overtime as well. Tonight you have the Buffalo Sabres taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. The New York Islanders are in Jersey taking on the Devils. The Red Wings play the Penguins this evening. That game will be on the NHL Network at 7 o'clock Eastern. 8 o'clock you have the Capitals and the Bruins. The Capitals and the Blues. 8:30, the Colorado Avalanche taking on the Dallas Stars. 9 o'clock, the Arizona Coyotes taking on the Calgary Flames. And at 10:30, the Anaheim Ducks are in San Jose in Shark Tank taking on the San Jose Sharks. So that'll do it for us today here on Frank Fired Up on the Mixed Up Sports Network. Hopefully, I will see you guys tomorrow at 3 to go over the NL wildcard game. Hopefully, it comes out good for the New York Mets, and I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow. If not, I will try to find somewhere on Friday, somewhere in my busy schedule on Friday to jump on to give my reaction for the game. So enjoy the game this evening. Enjoy the Met game this evening. If you're into hockey, enjoy the Islanders Devils this evening. And I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. Thank you very much for listening.